public health, we really wouldn't be able to do that yet. And then I think we need to look at all these students that maybe didn't do anything. So I hope we have an ineligible list and that the coach is notified.
There's definitely an ineligible list. One of them was already way I had.
High school years that thought this was just fun and games. They should already know that, shouldn't they? Julie?
Yes.
Shouldn't they already know that?
Oh, yeah, report cards went out.
Yeah.
Yep. And actually, all the coaches found out before the grades were final, a couple weeks before the grades were final, so that they could encourage their athletes to do better. So they would pass the quarter. I had a couple not pass the quarter, but pass the semester.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, they got credit for the class, they just can't place sports.
Like, that's ridiculous. What was it?
COVID pass and
I
COVID
couldn't
fail.
believe these kids didn't think they had to turn in any work.
There's a P, but what's the C part? Does that mean something? I was like, you're fine. Idiots. My own kid. Shush, you're fine.
Oh, I should, everybody should be able to get in. There shouldn't be a waiting room. Joe Plunk is the only one on, and this has been, hey, Joe.
My three nephews all graduated with.
I have to take the notes so you guys can slow.
That's really fast.
I've already got everybody's things pretty tight, so.
My first job was the biggest accounting firm.
That's awesome.
I know. You know, got another kid still working.
Well, I know Dan.
If they didn't have 375, didn't look at anything else. College, if it was gone, didn't even get a second. That's the thing they looked at. They made it in the file, and then from there they. So, yeah, that's pretty high.
That is.
So, but I guess that's how Ernst & Young. Because that's how competitive it is.
Yeah.
So. All right, it's 7 o'clock. So we will call the order of verification of meeting notice.
Posted, emailed, on the web.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Rowe?
Yes.
Mrs. Blazinski?
Yes.
Mrs. Variance?
Yes.
Mr. Manning? Mr. Risboy?
Yes.
Okay, 3 then, approval of the agenda.
Comes Mr. Manning right
Oh,
now.
comes
Mr.
Mr.
Manning, stay here.
Stay here quick.
Thank you.
Approval of the agenda.
I would so move.
So it's been moved to approve the agenda as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Rowe. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? All right. 4 then, motion to convene into closed session under Wisconsin statute 19.851C for consideration, employment, promotion, compensation, performance, evaluation, data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility, and conferring with legal counsel for a governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or likely to become involved. So 4.1, confer with legal counsel for a governmental body who has rendered oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is likely to become involved relating to section of IHO for employee grievance. 4.2, discussion and consideration, employment, promotion, compensation, performance, evaluation, data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. We'll be in closed session, not less than 5 minutes, but it could be longer than that.
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Moved and seconded to go into closed session. Roll call.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Rowe?
Yes.
Mrs. Blazinski? Mrs. Variance?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Brisboy?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes. Okay. We're in closed session. Is there anybody on the Zoom?
There is one person on the Zoom, and I told the person we were calling is that we would walk down to the room that we normally go in,
Okay.
and that the Zoom would continue to run while we were gone.
So they're
And
keeping an eye on the library first?
Yes. Keep an eye on the library for us.
Leave our persons here longer.
I can lock it.
Nobody's in the building. so-
Yeah. There's no sense in locking it. It always has to go.
Yeah.
We're coming back from closed, if anybody's still there. Oh, I see Melissa and, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Participants. Admit all.
They're an adult place afterwards. There you go.
You guys are welcome to join. Thank you. Sorry, I must not have hit. I always try and hit, no waiting room. I must not have done that for this meeting. I apologize. We just came back from closed session, so now we have to move back into open session.
How did they do the umpire? Yeah. Right? Yeah, when they just had one number, he called the whole game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yep.
All right, so motion to reconvene into open session.
Also, second.
Moved by Mr. Manning, second by Mrs. Blazinski. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, we're in open session. Anybody back on the Zoom call?
Yeah, we do have Mrs. Sprecher and Mrs. Plonka and Mr. Fabro are all here, so.
So then 5.1, discussion possible action on hiring independent hearing officer.
We recommend Steve Salerno.
Motion by Mr. Manning to hire Steve Salerno as our independent hearing officer. Is there a second? A seconded by Mrs. Variance. Roll call, please.
So Manning and then Variance.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Rowe,
Yes.
Mrs. Blazinski,
Yes.
Mrs. Variance,
Yes.
Mr. Manning,
Yes.
Mr. Brisboy,
Yes.
Mr. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson.
Yes.
Discussion possible action on items from closed session.
I didn't know what else she wanted, so
Okay,
that we
in
can
case
just,
she had something else.
yeah, just in
Okay.
case.
Then 5.3, discussion possible action on purchasing SRTCN/Schoolology, $5,000 in training for all teaching staff at 7,400 for the 2021 school year.
So Kathleen's handing things out. I'm gonna let her explain, but this is a team decision. She just knows more about the underpinnings of Schoology and Certainty and stuff.
So Certainty is something from CISA. Julia will have to give you the details of what it is. But it's on, if you get the packet, Certainty is like a group of stuff that you pay an X amount of dollars for, and CISA supports our use of it. So one is virtual learning, Schoology, College Up. So within Certainty, there are virtual classes that kids can take. They can be here and take them elsewhere. And in this packet, there are examples, the catalog.
You okay, honey? Are you feeling any better?
Melissa, you might want to mute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm fine though.
Okay, though.
I have a little one who's not feeling good. I'm sorry.
You're okay.
So that's one thing that's part of this. Schoology is a learning management system. Right now, we use Google Classroom, which has been described to me by many different people because I've tried to do the best research I can. Google is your Ford Escort, and Schoology is more like a Yukon. So it's more robust. It can do more things. This year, Callie did a pilot with the free version, and I spoke with Callie today just to ensure, I watched her use it. She fully supports it. The one good thing about it is the district can manage it better than Google Classroom. Google Classroom is like all over the place. You go into Google and it's this open world, where in Schoology, it's already formatted for virtual learning. So if you've taken any online courses, like I'm taking through Viterbo, we use Moodle. So in Moodle is all my courses, my assignments, how I interact with my teachers and with my peers. It's right there. With Google, that's not the case. It's just files kind of linked loosely. Schoology though can embed everything we've done in Google. Will embed. It'll embed video. It'll allow us to grade papers, and it goes right into Skyward. It allows all the standards to be linked, all that kind of stuff. College Up is also part of Certainty, which we had a student this year that piloted it. She did something nursing, okay? Had we done it through Schoology, it would have cost us a lot less. So this package of Schoology, or not Schoology, sorry, Certainty is 5,000 for the year, for all of that.
And I mentioned this when we talked about our CISA contract, that we were really leaning towards it at that time.
Yeah. We had talked about this 2 years ago, but we weren't, she and I were new, Chris was new, so it's like, you know,
But Kathleen, a lot of these have a cost per student.
some of them
Also,
do. Yep,
quite a few of them do,
yep. So just like when we do,
over to the campus.
yep. So instead of the travel time, like had this been offered when Julie was here, she would have taken advantage of it because she could have she would have done it and not lost travel time and had to lose 3 hours versus 1 hour.
Yeah, also, and how much are each of those youth options classes? They're like $600 or $700. These are only $250.
But the credits are higher, aren't they? Some of these are only like a 0.5. So at the campus, they get an actual 2 or
They
3
actually get
credits.
college credit.
Yeah, and they get
Yeah,
college
so,
credit.
so there is that
There
difference
is
as
different,
well.
yep, I agree.
Pluses and
I agree.
minuses, yep.
Okay.
One of the things that we are at Ithaca are not currently offering are AP courses, which this does have some of those. Not a lot, but some. But anyway, that's one part of this grouping of stuff. Schoology is one part, and then the College Up, which we did have that student in nursing. I think that's a 2-year, correct, Mr. Wagner? And then College Up is the second page, and those are all the different things that can allow for. So I pretty lost my agenda.
So would,
Okay.
under the college up part, the gear up part, would that take kind of place of our youth options? It says up to 21 transferable college credits.
It's all part of the same package.
I'm saying would the gear up section of this maybe take place of our youth options?
We're already,
On the college up page, there's a part called gear up, and it
oh,
says
sorry.
for juniors and seniors, they can earn up to 21 transferable college credits. So it was just brought up that some of these classes, they only have high school credit for, not college credits, but this is college credits. And so this would fall under that, so we could still reach those kids
We already do that.
and maybe save.
And this, so
some
that
youth
would
options
be
money.
through Southwest Tech.
Yes.
This is Southwest Tech.
Is it online then, or they go to Southwest?
Most of it, like the nursing, was most of it was online. Some she will have to go, I think, next year for some labs to Fenimore.
Okay.
But this year she was in the library for half a day doing it online.
So then this, all of the stuff on here is included in the cost, or is it a 142 a credit like it says up here?
It's 142 a credit.
So that'd be the cost plus.
Right.
Okay.
So this year with that student, it was about, I think, $9,000, $6,000 for that one student to do.
And if we had had this in place, what would it have cost us? 142 per credit?
What, right, plus the package is 5,000.
Right, but then we have other kids who could take advantage.
But the training is 7,400, so
Okay,
the
so that's a
total
separate package, yep. So that's the other handout that I gave you. So that's Digital Learning Collaborative. So CISA has built online modules for different things. One of them is Schoology. So like they had set me up a while ago, and so today I went back in and revisited, teaching you how to do it. And I was talking with Chris today, talking with Julie today. One thing that, the reality is we're not coming back here 100% of the kids in the building as normal. We're going to have some kind of virtual, and we haven't done any training of our staff for how to do that. So like Richland, districts that are using Schoology through CISA, because CISA they onboard it and they help manage it, they help with the training. The current districts that are using it are Platteville is using it for K through 12. Weston, Argyle, Richland, Riverdale, Potosi, Benton, Belmont, Castle, Kickapoo, not River Valley yet, but they're talking with CISA currently. So those are just the ones that she rattled off.
Yeah, just in the CISA 3, there's lots in the.
Right, yep. So Schoology was built in 2009 for colleges, and then it's been brought down to the K-12 world. So my point is though, we haven't done any training on, like, teachers Zoomed a little bit, right? They just try it, do it. We did nothing. When Richland spent 3 days of that initial closure, the teachers came and they trained solid 3 days on Schoology, all the way down to kindergarten. So like my friend Barb's little girl is in 3rd grade. She had a device and she interacted with her teacher at least an hour a day. Richland has had Schoology for 5 years, but only from the middle school up. And so with all this closure and virtual learning, they took it all the way down as the learning management system for their curriculum. So my point again is this $7,400 CISA will provide on, module training where I can sit at a computer, watch some videos, learn how to use the different things. Kristen will come and do some training in the building, how to do a video conference, how to Zoom, how to use open educational resources. Like right now we have textbooks. Well, some of them are online, but not a lot of them aren't. So how do you take, there's free resources that are free textbooks that we can access and use as a resource versus standing at the copy machine and scanning it and trying to put it in a document and so on.
Yeah, and I mean, when COVID hit, I think we did a really good job flying by the seat of our pants, but if we're going to do this for a year and DPI is going to make sure we're doing it correctly so that we get their funding and stuff, we have to have time to train the staff on that.
So this is a one-time fee?
No.
So yearly,
The certainty is the 5,000 for certainty, that package of stuff.
I meant the training.
The training is a one-time.
That's what I was
Yeah,
confused.
I mean-
I figured there'd be a.
How many people are we training?
So all the teaching staff. So it costs, through CISA, it costs $236 per teacher for the first 25, and then after that's 100 each. So I did a 40 teachers.
40 teachers.
And so that gives you the $7,400. Part of it also is ITSE, digital learning. So I went into that today, and basically it talks about digital literacy and what best practice for using the virtual learning and things like that. Chris, so right now, these modules are live right now, so teachers can do them at their own pace. And then in July and August, Kristen and Missy, the two CISA tech people, will be available through email for questions and things like that if teachers have, are working through it and need some help. What else was I going to tell you? So, I understand the budget is very tight. Can we get by this year with Google? We possibly could, but we're going to need training. So that's $7,400. We're going to have to spend it anyway because we don't know. Our teachers, we don't use a lot of technology in Ithaca because whether it was the WAPs didn't work or, we didn't, whatever. We just aren't a robust, kids get on and use it. So we're going to have to spend that anyway. Google isn't sustainable. I mean, it's too simple for what we really want to do. If we're in this closure, this different learning environment, we're going forward with it. Like Julia has told me, she's so thankful she gets to go to one class every day. She's looked at her classes and she's telling me what day. That's only through, I think, Thanksgiving, and then the rest is online. So the reality is, and that's where they're adults, so they can, the reality is this is our new learning. This is how we're going to educate our kids. And I would rather jump in and I know it's going to be hard for teachers. It's a big learning curve. And are we doing another initiative? No, we're taking the standards work, our curriculum alignment, and housing it in a better place. So rather than driving that Ford Escort, although I was a Chevette girl for years, if I can get into a, better vehicle, even if it's, I just think in the long run, it's gonna be better. But I do understand the money. I do think Adam has been in contact with Tricia Lewis, who is the IT at Richland. And according to Kristen, she's like this guru of technology. So we have resources there, you know, our neighbors are using it. We talk a lot about PLCing with, you know, not next year, probably just because of all this other stuff, but with Weston and Richland, and if we're using the same system, and you can create data banks of questions and link them to standards and know exactly where the kids are, where Google is not. So
Kathleen, I have a quick question. And maybe it's not a quick question. We know that like the teachers dive in and get this stuff. You know, our biggest obstacle is still gonna be our kids at home, right? Like with not having, like, we're not robust, but our kids are certainly not robust. Like there's gonna be still kids that need that help.
Mhm.
Will this stuff help us get to the kids better? Like, you know what I mean? Like, will that help our teachers get the, even if the kids don't have it at home and we still have to?
I think so, because
That's my
they've
question.
got in the modules, there's modules for the kids can work through.
Okay.
Or the parents, you know, and part of, and maybe we don't do this for the littles. Maybe the K2 do something called Seesaw, which is a little easier. It's still interactive. It has the analytics that DPI is gonna want. Our teachers have, or some of them are playing with it. But yeah, I do think, and
Because that was a big struggle for a lot of people, like, you're at home with your kid with their, I can't teach my kid math. I'm an accountant, I use my spreadsheet. I
Right.
don't teach my kid math. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That
so
would
we can
help.
more, you can more easily embed videos.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, this, it just, to me, and I use Google Classroom. From the time I was in middle school all the way down, I used it as a teaching tool.
Yeah.
With my fourth graders, they could, but to me, it was hard to embed videos. It was just cumbersome. It's hard to find stuff. Like you'd have to scroll versus they're foldered. It's just, it's a better system.
Yeah, and Summer, to answer that question too, like we said, a lot of the kids, and they were right, their parents had to teach them at home and stuff because we didn't have a really good plan because, you know, we had 3 days to figure it out. So this will help our teachers have a much better plan and a much more fluid way to get the information to the students.
And the fact that, you know, we've, Adam, you guys approved that we have outside Wi-Fi now, so they can still pull in. If there's videos on those lessons, download them onto the device, go home and watch them. You don't have to have necessarily, you know, like with at our house, that we might have good enough Wi-Fi for half the month,
Right,
and then we're gonna have to do that because we just don't have
right.
unlimited Wi-Fi.
Or if there's a storm for 3 days in a row. You might.
Yeah, we have nothing.
Exactly.
So here are my thoughts on this. Given 3 days and no training, they did a good job.
Mhm.
But they really could have been doing a lot more if this is gonna get them there. And as far as the money is concerned, I feel like the sports seasons are gonna look really different this year. We're probably going to save money there.
I would like to speak on that because we
Yes.
are going to be getting some COVID money that basically it's $40,000. We already know we're getting it. This would cover. This would be a perfect example of what to
Okay.
use it for.
Right.
So technology, embedding things, assisting kids getting the online access that they need. That's what this is.
Also, if they're supposed to be so separate from each other, do you think the sports seasons are gonna look like normal? I mean, I just don't feel like we're gonna put a bunch of them on the bus and pack bleachers and have kids play games. And I mean, we're probably going to save money in our sports this year anyway. Aside from that money, that's what I was thinking, but
So I would like to point out that we've been talking about this for 6 or 8 weeks, almost since the closure. Like I said, we talked about it with certainty for a couple months now. And I told Kathleen, I said, you need to sell it because I don't understand it as well as you do and how it's gonna impact kids. She's the curriculum guru. Chris, you know, her and Chris are in the classrooms. They know the individual struggles that the kids and the teachers had. And we feel that this is that gap closure.
And I had even looked at late last year at possibly purchasing curriculum companion or build your own curriculum. So similar like to an online class where you'd build it and it would always just be there. This I think is better because that is the intended user of build your own curriculum is the teacher. This is the student. The intended user is the student. And the one thing that I didn't realize, but Kristen told me today, is parents, like when they go into Skyward, all they see is a number.
Yep.
They can see the actual work that the kid did and the rubric, the score that the kid did. So when the kid said, well, I don't know, my teacher was mean, I only got a, 80. Okay, then you look at the essay, well, I know why you got an 80. You don't have a period anywhere, or whatever.
Yeah.
They can see the actual work versus just a number.
Well, that was, and I don't, because my kids struggled a lot with online, but I'm in the middle of doing my MBA and I don't mean to be disrespectful because our staff worked very hard and I know it was very difficult. But when they're saying, well, we're doing it online, you're not doing it online. You're getting assignments and you're turning them in online.
Right.
It is not
Right.
different.
That's different.
Because I'll show you what online school is.
Right.
This is what it looks
Yeah,
like. There's a syllabus, you have every single assignment,
Right.
you have a rubric, you know what's expected. This is online learning.
Right.
You're given an assignment and you're trying to figure it out. And that's not
But they
Everyone.
were emergency teaching and learning that. That was
exactly. And I'm
completely
not,
different.
that's what I'm saying. This is not, but if we know we're going into it and you think this will get us there, I think it's a whole new ballgame. But our students also need to know that too.
Right.
That it's a different.
Well, and so that's part of DPI now is we have to document and log learning when they're not here. So if we do some kind of weird schedule that a group of kids isn't here, we have to be able to document they were in class at home. So Chris and I were talking today, one thing that Schoology has that you could use is it has a discussion board. So a teacher could post a question and they got to respond. So if you do that 3 times during your class period and they are responding, okay, then it's logging that they've been in.
Right.
So it is more, we did emergency teaching.
Mhm.
And this is going forward is we're here from 7:55 to 3:25, whether the kids are here or not,
Right.
they're in class.
I have 2
I
questions.
just want to say something about the Schoologies. I did sit in on a couple training sessions on that just to kind of see how it worked and did some playing with it. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting about it is that once we get past this COVID and we just have kids that are normally absent from school, especially if you have a kid who's gone 2, 3, 4 days, they're able to basically see the lesson and what you're teaching and be able to get caught up so much faster through Schoology than they are through what we're doing with Google right now, because everything they need is right there in the lesson and they can just log on and all the information they need is there.
And even like last year or the year we had that cold, all those cold days.
And
After that, Reedsburg had, during some of their cold days, they had to plan 3 days of learning. So they were not going to have snow days. They planned for that because they lost so much.
Mhm.
I don't think we'll have snow days anymore. Adults, why do we take snow days? So the kids aren't on the buses. Well, we're all grown-ups, right? This is our job. We drive to our job.
Mhm.
Kids are home, they have their device, they can have school. And if they can't have it because of Wi-Fi, well, then for that kid, they get an extra day.
Mhm.
But everybody else, no, we're having school as normal, so.
Steve, you said you had questions.
So when will you expect the teachers to do this training?
So we looked at the schedule, so we have 13 days of PLC PD built in. And so we had anticipated those would become vacation days for staff and we'd have to put them before school started. So I talked to Kristen and she has tentatively on her schedule, depending on approval, August 17th. It's a Monday, half day for all staff as an initial training. And then 2 other half days, one for elementary and one for middle high school. The idea with her and the idea like she would come in the afternoon, they would be here all day. She'd initially train them, then they'd work on it and then she'd be there for question and answer. And then probably 2 more days before school starts to build your class. And then we'd be building as we go. So like the standards work that the staff did a fantastic job this summer, by the way. although it'll look different, it'll be in a different mode, but we continue that in our PD time that we would have left. But whatever we would need in the summer, we take from those 13
It'd be the
days.
same amount of
Yes,
professional development.
they just, it would be, you know,
Situated.
Reallocated.
and it's unfortunate, but I think staff knew this was gonna come, whether, you know, because we got it, it's different. no matter
So what will you do if you have staff for a legitimate reason can't make the training?
Then we'd have to do some other, I don't know if she would, we could videotape it, you know, her
They were required to
initial,
watch it.
some other, you know, we'd have to work something out. We do have, so part of the 5,000, one of the two numbers, we get a full day with Kristen, and then we also have 4 SID days through our CISA contract. So we can use those, and I've kind of include that in with paying for her, you know, we use them for data retreats, and we might not be able to do that this year because we need to do this. So if we need to have another day to catch up those that are gone, we can do that.
I have a question. How are you going to get the parents to understand how to use it?
I don't know the answer to that yet, but will come, that'll come. Yeah, just like when they did Google, you know, although it will be new for kids, but there are modules in there that to walk, like you walk through and it tells you stuff and it makes you practice all the tools of it.
Like tutorials and stuff.
Yep,
to go through.
Yep, video tutorials and just walking through it. So it will be a learning curve regardless, you know, just like little Brenna, 3rd grader, had to learn how to do it. She loved it, but they're quick. You know, kids are quick, where it's the rest of us, they're like.
Other kids teach me how to use it.
So
And
Steve,
that'll
we'd
have-
probably send out like a survey for the teachers listing the 7 or 8 PLC days, and then it'd be a simple majority. What 4 days do you guys want off during the year? If you're coming in August. And we would want them to come in August.
Yeah, I would think that it'd be mandatory unless
Yeah.
there is a legitimate
Yeah, it did,
approved.
yeah. Mhm.
And it's a change, which we know that's the only 5-letter, 4-letter word. Is it 6 letters? I forget. Anyway,
That's-
nobody likes change.
Well, it is going to be very different. The only thing that I would say is I don't think we can lock that 7,400 in, because as we do these meetings, we possibly will have to bring a few more people on board. So I think whatever you were saying,
Okay, I'm not following, I guess, other people.
We could have other people that
Other-
retire.
other people, no, or other people as we try to set this up. If we're gonna have so many kids in school,
Oh,
the teachers are gonna be here every day,
Got it.
and then we're gonna
So
have this
then it's
other stuff.
Right.
So what
So it
you're
wouldn't be 40,
saying
it might be
is,
45.
right.
Okay,
So I don't think we should put a
Okay.
cap on that 74. I think who's ever gonna do educational work with the kids needs to go through the training. Because we're gonna have to
Possibly.
reconfigure.
So you can, this will be I think I understand what you're saying, Linda, but it'll be the certified teachers that will create the class.
Okay.
So the using of it, they might, you know, let's say they're doing a training and it's about Zoom, how to Zoom or how to video conference, then we might include some more.
Okay.
But the building of the classes
Will be
on
the
instructional.
actual instructions.
Yes.
Okay.
Once you do this and you have it done up, so what will that change the way we do if a teacher's gone and we have a substitute teacher in the room then?
They can, you know, that's the beautiful thing. And I talked to some teachers, you know, when they were coming in. If you're gone, Steve, for 14 days, I can't get a sub. Like, take math, for example. I was talking to David. If David is not there for a long period, we cannot find somebody that can do that job. So it has to be within that curriculum, push play. I mean, that's the reality. We can't lose 14 days of instruction if somebody has COVID.
So will our system we have now will handle it?
Yep, Schoology can be on any device. In fact, Platteville.
But can we,
Yes.
through the course of the day, when people are jumping on here, jumping on there, will we be able to support?
According to Adam, yes. I've asked him. He's been informed. In fact, he's talked with Clark, some techie at CISA. And so he said we're okay with using it. And I asked, everybody's using it. I even asked about the multipurpose room, because that's one of the bigger rooms. We might have 50 people in it. Can it support? And he says it can. So I don't, beyond trying it, I don't know, but that's what I was told.
And the nice thing, the planner that quite a few of the teachers have been using, that can be embedded in Schoology. So you're not doing really
You're not
new
gonna do
work.
double duty.
Yeah.
You'll build a unit or a week's worth, versus a daily lesson thing.
So yeah, back to that question then. So if Mr. Trepon, say, for an example, is gone for an entire week, he can have all of his assignments loaded in there and the kid can work on it with
Yeah.
him being gone. And
That's what
the
the
videos
initial.
teach him how to do whatever he would have been teaching them how to do. I love that. Okay, just curious. To
Julie,
expand on what's
with what you
being-
said about like payday change, I mean, I think we just, like even to the staff, we all just have to be like, we are not unique in this.
No, yeah.
Everyone is going through it and we're just all working together. And I think we need to be really, I mean, I know it's, a lot
Everybody
of
needs
people-
change.
but I think we just all need to be really optimistic about everything.
It sounds like a lot
And
of,
just the
a lot of the
message
schools
needs.
in our district are doing this already.
Yeah,
so-
and the message to our staff just means very optimistic and we're all in it together and we're not unique in any sense of the word with this. It's all weird. We're in it together.
And the three of us have talked about if we go this route, we will, the time that has been dedicated for other things, it will be time to work on getting, so that they're doing a good job and have support. And in one of my staff meetings, months ago, I brought it up, on dear Callie, I'll help anybody, and I called her today just to make sure, because I haven't talked to her for, a while now, and, yep, so, and Melissa tried it, Melanie tried a little bit of it, and the teachers are used to it, the elementary, because when we did that math work my first year here, they use Schoology as their platform to learn about the math standards and things, so it's not a completely foreign language.
So I think if we go ahead with this and we're doing it, especially for the kids' part, we're gonna put the teachers through training. We need to make sure that we, this is gonna be a big part of our learning, that we put the kids through proper training instead of, you can just watch some tutorials and you'll get it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
No.
I
It needs to
think,
be maybe the first week of school where the teachers are helping the kids.
absolutely. All we're gonna learn is till we get comfortable learning how to use the system right, because nothing's worse than spending a whole bunch of money on something and getting a third out of it because you don't understand how to use it. properly.
Yep.
So, I don't think we want to just assume, the kids, they'll get it. We just assume have them go, this is easy. We know how to, you're like, okay, now we know we're good. Everybody knows how to use it.
Yep.
Go forward.
How are the talks in the committee going as far as like, are we leaning toward having half the kids here at one time, or, can I get an update?
We have brought up everything. And I did do a survey, which I shared with the committee, but right now we're at 87% of the parents that filled out the survey report they want their child in school as long as possible, as many days as possible.
Of course they do.
And 13% would like their child to be 100% virtual. Either their child has
5
an
more came in
illness.
today, just so you know.
What?
5 more came in today.
Okay.
So
But-
how many have you got back? Just, a response, just,
Oh,
we
I
don't need
wanna
to
say-
know. Rough number.
89, wasn't it?
89.
Over
Yeah.
100, I think now.
So now
And
it's
that's-
over 100.
Basically families.
Right,
Families,
exactly,
right.
families,
So,
because most of them answered a couple
Most
kids.
of them have maybe 2.
So,
And I think we have 120 or 130 families.
I think my husband said he answered that survey after I did though, so I said, I hope he didn't contradict me. 'Cause I said-
too late. You only get one vote. Last one
I
counts.
answered first, because I said, we'll do whatever, so you want to go with my vote, because I don't care, we can handle.
But I think it's with and again, I'm on the county EOC meetings. We just went to level 2, so now we can have the 50 people in a room and with social distancing and everything. And I think that our families realize that the best place for them to be educated is in school as best we can. The parents did an awesome job, but we're the teachers. You know, we want your children here. That's what we do. So to have them say, yes, we want you to have our children is very reinforcing for me that, you know, everybody did the best they could, but let's try to do this, you know, and we've done some numbers already. And I'm pretty sure that the entire elementary will fit in the entire elementary with some mods. So I think we can do it with the elementary, no problem. I think we might even have middle school figured out. High school is more of a chore because they switch groups all the time. But on July 13th, we'll have many more things for you guys to hear from that committee. But
With social distancing, Julie, most of the rooms will hold 15 kids. They're the biggest one, if you use a classroom, the biggest one is 20 with proper social distancing.
Is that what you?
Which is still in phase 2.
yeah, and I just got a new online matrix and I still have it up here and I haven't plugged it in, but some young, very talented man named Ari had his mom work at a school and they tried to figure out with the hexagon or the, you know, the 3-foot distance around you. Cause I have a 3-foot distance around me and now we're 6 feet apart, you know, but she can be up against a wall that makes, you know, then I only need 3 feet between the wall and this person. So anyway, I'm going to work on the next couple of days to figure out the actual numbers. Cause I just walked around counting blocks on the ground, get my square footage.
So if it's possible, the band and fire have to look different from Fayette. So then can we, I mean, if Fayette has to look different, can we utilize the gym?
Oh, we're talking every space.
Every space,
I mean,
courtyard,
I mean,
picnic
There's
tables.
more spittle with Fayette and a lot of contact depending on what you're playing, so I don't know.
Old school Palestine.
Yeah, right.
Jumping back.
6 feet away from each
Go for
other.
a walk.
Disposable badminton.
Yeah, hit the rock. Field.
Yeah, so there's a lot of discussion and I'm hoping that we'll be able to nail a couple things down after tomorrow's meeting, so.
And we haven't had a spike, you know, like lacrosse is having a spike right now. And so things could change if parents not
They're
wanting.
doing more testing too, so it's gonna
Yeah.
spike.
That's why
Well,
it's
they
like
have-
Richland Center has 2 new cases.
Okay, well, lacrosse though.
1 and 2, but
Yeah.
Vernon and yeah, that Cooley Valley region.
Well, lacrosse had a big outbreak and now.
That was
lacrosse-
20-year-olds in
Right,
lacrosse.
no. And so they posted,
Major.
I was just reading the news article, the high risk, medium and low, you know, like Quick Trip is safe, but any of those downtown establishments, Subway, some office supply, like they have the dates. If you were there, you're at a high risk, and
Wow.
they added to it today. It was on our WKOS or whatever that is.
I have a hard time keeping up to our phone radio station.
Any other discussion, questions?
So you said you were gonna do a survey as far as
So once
how
we did,
the teachers feel about doing the trade-off, or?
well, once we determine the number of days needed for the training before school, then we will look at the 6 or 7 days that are during the year and which ones do they
Okay.
prefer.
Other questions, comments? Discussions, motions?
Looking for a motion. I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of Certainty Schoology for $5,000 and the training for all the teaching staff for however much that ends up costing,
For a minimum of,
for a minimum of $7,400.
A second.
it's been moved by Ms. Blazinski, seconded by Mrs. Rowe to purchase a Certainty in Schoology at a total cost of not less than $12,400.
I'm gonna stop you, sorry, it's not Certainty and Schoology, it's Certainty and Training.
Okay,
So,
Schoology is one aspect of service.
That's the way I worded
if
it.
you wanna call it the
that's the way it's in
CISA,
here,
That's
right?
the way I worded it.
Yeah.
When I read it off, I said and training for not less than,
there you go, and Training,
yes.
perfect, thank you.
I just read it straight off of here, so.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Blazinski,
Yes.
Mrs. Variance,
Yes.
Mr. Manning,
Yes.
Mr. Brisboy,
Yes.
Mr. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rowe.
Yes.
5.4 then, discussion and possible action on moving professional development days from school year to place in the summer for training.
Do we want to do that now? Do you guys have a suggestion or do you want to wait on that?
We want to have the ability to do it.
Okay,
We don't know, I have tentative dates, but I don't have specifics.
okay, so if we could have a motion to allow administrative leeway on the PLC dates from the calendar to place back into August, that would be appreciated.
And I do think we need to, like Summer had said, just kind of reiterate that this is, you know, I mean, summer's important to our staff. And they had a rough go of it the last quarter, that we just have to do things differently because it's going to be different. But I mean that, you know, I think they need to know that we know that this is kind of stepping on some of their time and maybe even family time, but we really don't have a lot of choice.
We really appreciate that.
And that we appreciate I mean, they need to know that. It was not easy.
I also move on the moving or the discussion or opening up for options for the administration to begin to plan the moving of the professional development days school year into the summer for the needed training.
Been moved by Mr. Brisboy. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Manning. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And 6 is adjourned. Is there a motion to adjourn? By Mrs. Ferriant, is there a second?
I'll second.
By Mrs. Rowe, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone against?
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. And